bitches.
Hi, hello, and welcome back to another episode. Well, not another. We haven't done it yet. The first episode of The Dawn and Its Light, the last and final installment of. Oh my god!
Night in its Moon series.
Thank you. I've been drinking pop a lot today. Let me tell you, the hiccups are hiccuping.
One of the girls today, like the children at work, I was helping out during rest time, and I was, patting backs to help kids go to sleep. And she had the hiccups, and it was hilarious because I was patting her back, and then she would hiccup, and then she would giggle.
There was a. I don't understand Will's logic on this, and I don't know, but he hates getting hiccups, absolutely hates it, and he's like, I have tried every single thing known to man to get rid of hiccups. And he goes, so I read something about if you just think that hiccups are not real, then they go away. And he's like, it works. It's worked the best out of all the options I've tried. And then one day he got the hiccups real bad. And he just couldn't stop. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't do it. And I was like, why don't you go back to doing something different? He goes, no, because this is a tried and true method and it worked. And I was like, it's not working now, so you need to figure it out. And he's so upset. And it's like for an hour he had the hiccups because he refused to try anything else. And I was like, well, clearly thinking about it or not thinking about it or thinking that they're not real didn't help you. Why don't you try burping and trying to get rid of some of that excess gas or I don't know, something. And it didn't. Nothing worked for him, and he was just mad all day. So,
I was told, and I don't remember who told me this, but that you're not a fish. If you tell yourself you're not a fish, then you'll stop having the hiccups. And I have not fact checked this at all, so don't at me, but it's something to do with hiccups are an evolutionary byproduct from when
maybe that's what Will was thinking.
Yeah. So if you say I'm not a fish, then your hiccups go away. It works, but I don't know if it works because
but I'm a mermaid.
It actually works, or if it works because it's such a wild thing to think that your brain's like, what the fuck? And so it stopped hiccuping.
I think that's what Will thinks. And that's probably where I got the it's not real kind of idea.
Maybe.
Because he's very like I said last episode or one of the last episodes, we've been on watching Harry Potter, and I was like, is talking to me when I talk about witchcraft or whatever, speaking to Professor Twilani or Twelani, and he's like, yeah, sometimes. Maybe a little bit more of Loony Lovegood than anything. And I was like, oh, so you call me Loony Lovegood behind my back? And he goes, yeah, sometimes. So.
Wonderful.
So that's probably where he got all that bullshit from. But anyways, so The Dawn and Its Light. Okay, so we ended the last book with a fucking whirlwind.
Yeah, a lot happened in the last 6 chapters.
Why? Why do fantasy books do that?
Oh my gosh, I don't know, but they all do.
They do. So basically, Amaris is dying or dead or something. We don't know. Mm-hmm. The queen is in fact dead. So Fairhold has no monarch. And now they're just kind of in a cleanup stage. But yeah, so now we're picking up where we left off immediately, which is great. So
yes, she jumped right back into the story. It was awesome. So
we start off with, and she's dream walking with Gadriel.
Yeah.
So we see another side of Gadriel, which is really refreshing.
Yeah.
Not
It's
this
a more
weird
relaxed
sicko.
side of him.
Yeah. I don't mean sicko as if like he's a creep and terrible person. Kind of like murderer kind of sicko. More of the he's a little sadistic kind of sicko.
I mean, you know,
But
I I don't know. So there's not I don't know. The first few chapters always feel like they're like easing you back in. So it feels like not a lot really happened, but it kind of did, but it kind of didn't.
we get a lot more filler. Not filler, but like fill-ins. So
Yeah.
it's not fluff, but it's like we find out how Amaris didn't die and how she was
Yeah.
stable. We find out like kind of what happened more
Yeah. Which
down there.
is by Yaslin using her powers.
Yeah, so Aslan freezes her wound to make it stop bleeding,
Yep.
which is why Amaris felt cold in her dream at the end of the book. And honestly, that's kind of cool. Like you always see like cauterizing, and I'm not saying that like this would work in real life because it probably wouldn't, but like
I mean,
using
maybe.
her ice powers to completely cover and um not necessarily stop the bleeding, but stop the location from, spreading or getting worse until they get a healer is actually pretty smart and
Yeah. And it's really
cool idea.
interesting. And like, that might not work in real life, but it is really interesting how they use like heat and cold in real life medical situations. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I nerd out about that kind of stuff, and there's some really cool things that they can do by like really lowering your body temperature, basically making you hypothermic. So,
Slows down your
um,
breathing.
yeah, I don't think it's Soulgrave. I don't know why, and maybe
That
it's
did
just
like the ghouls?
yeah, maybe it's just my paranoid like suspicious mind. I just feel like it wasn't Soulgrave.
Okay, so at first I didn't think it was Soulgrave. Obviously, I thought it was like the queen, like kind of faking it, and then I thought maybe this was Millicent, and then we found out she's actually the hand. So there's at some sometimes I didn't think it was Soulgrave, but then I was thinking this is the last book. She's gonna have to introduce a whole new character or a whole new like evil person and then close out their story real fucking fast before the end of the book.
That's
So
true.
logically thinking,
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
think it's
guess.
Saulgrave just because of that. But I mean, it very well could be like there could be some great written pop in character
It
that
just seemed too easy for it to be Soulgrave, but it could have been. But also because I am who I am, I always look at the pronunciation guide, and it definitely does look like we're getting some new characters.
I wonder if these are the people like the other Soulgrave Fae
Maybe.
characters, like, oh, this is who was my partner who came over here, like the five of them. Because we have Alistair, we have Cloris, Damir, Elswith, Viola, um, Kassar, Ryu,
You, Surya.
Surya, and yeah, and that's it. So I'm sure five of them or four of them are the original. We probably have a few of the Soulgrave Fae. Um, the speaker is probably one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if a couple of them are Gadriel's parents because they did go to Soulgrave.
Maybe. We'll find out, I guess.
I don't remember him saying anything about his like parents or his like the names of his
I
parents.
don't
So
either. I
I
don't
just
know.
remember like, hey, did your parents make it? or whatever. And honestly, they might not have. We
Right?
don't know.
They might be dead. We don't know.
But so
Um,
we learn a little bit more about the dream walking and extreme like feelings, more like fear of either the person dreaming or the person who is doing the dream walking, or like those extreme emotions can actually sever the
yeah.
dream itself.
Yeah, it makes everything get shaky and crazy.
And it stops them from dreaming. So
Yeah. And then, so this whole time, Nox and Gadriel are like sharing information about what's happened there, what's happened at Gwydir, and all of those things. Did I say that right? Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then what they're going to do next. And basically, Nox is like, we got to go north to Soulgrave. And I'm just like, that sounds like a terrible idea. Tanith defeated an entire army single-handed, and you want to go north where they all are like this? Really?
Not all of them. I think there's a select few. Also, we did find out Gadriel's mom's name in this part. So
did we?
yeah, Alua, Alua, Alua. It ain't them.
That's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Anyways, I think it's more of like a cult based religion that we see, like a compound kind of thing. And we do find out a little bit later though the kind of idea behind their extreme powers. And I think that not necessarily is in our favor, but I think that will help the group.
Yeah, that's fair. Still seems
Like
like a bad idea.
like specifically chapter 5.
Yeah.
We kind of like read a little bit and we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
I
I think
still think that they need to plan more. They're really bad about like having an actual definite plan before they just go in and do stuff. But we'll see.
listen, we're not all Ravenclaws. We all don't think about our fucking actions, okay? If you're in a fantasy novel and you're the main character, you're probably a Gryffindor, and that's final.
Ugh, that's why they all get on my nerves.
Yeah. Gotta do something. Sorry, there is a spider.
Oh, uh-oh. That is the end of chapter 1.
Yay.
Yeah. So chapter 2 starts with Nox waking up early again. She's waking up early. Like before 6:00 in the morning, wakes up early. And I don't understand why they don't make more than 3 almond pastries. Like, these almond pastries are a thing that we've talked about multiple times. And Zakai is like, I always eat 3. And Nox is already eating one. And I'm
then
like,
they're like, how dare you? And it's like, okay, hold up. She's a queen. Like, let her do it.
And I'm like, why don't they just make more? I don't understand. This seems like such a simple solution. But whatever. And then they start talking again. Or she talks to Zakai for a little bit, and she tells him what Gadriel said. And then she goes to find Ash and Tanith. And Tanith is like,
Not doing well.
Yeah, she's not doing so hot. She's exhausted. She won't wake up. And there's a healer and a, don't remember what they call them, but basically a magic
something of magic scholar.
Scholar of magics. You're right.
I should keep that recorded for all the days.
um, we find out that she's basically doing blood magic when she's doing things that are not her like primary power, which is lightning. And we find out in this chapter on page 13. No. 18, page 18.
19.
18
into
19. That she was shielding them. And that is what second power she was using. She was shielding them from her own lightning. And that's why she is so drained right now. And yeah. So the magic scholar just, pour some fucking blood down her throat. Blood
gotta do what you gotta do.
From the green strike, a green strike blood, some kind of creature. But then they give her this blood, and Tanith wakes up, and the first thing she says, basically, Ash goes, "You shielded us," because she smiles as soon as she wakes up, and Ash goes, "You shielded us," and she says, "What use is it to destroy the enemy if I'm left without my family?" Fucking sobbing. Oh my god. I love her. If she betrays them, I will set myself on fire. But then we get like an inner monologue from her in chapter 2, right? Or is that later?
Chapter 2.
It is chapter 2. She's like, she's not going to make a promise to him. Her life has been forfeited for some time, and she knew it, but she would give everything in her power to protect the others from her fate. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what does that mean? I'm confused by that.
That's not the only thing I'm confused about. Okay. No, okay. Two things. One, I really want to close this chapter on Murray. Because fuck her. But I'm also like, why the hate? If
right.
You had powers. So like what? Maybe her first love was Faye and like fucking ruined everything for her. Maybe she dated a Tamlin. She didn't find a Rhysand. Maybe she was the Tamlin.
Right, maybe her father was Faye and left her or something.
Daddy issues make sense. But like, those are the kinds of things where I'm like, hold up. Are we done talking about her? Because like,
I have more questions.
I want to know. Yeah. And then about the whole Tana thing. She says that her life is like forfeited a long time ago. She did make a comment that when they came to like the main strip of land, they didn't plan on going back. Like suicide missions, basically. So like maybe she's under the impression that like she's on borrowed time.
Maybe
Exerting that much power is not good for her.
Yeah, and it could also be, I wonder if something in her religion is like, not only are you sacrificing your life in this suicide mission, but you're also sacrificing like I don't know, your eternity or something because you're killing all these people. Maybe, I don't know. Something crazy. Who knows?
Zealots.
Yeah. But that's chapter 2.
Yeah, and honestly, it's like this whole thing is ominous. Ominous. Yeah, I'm saying it right. Ominous.
Yeah.
I hate when you like say something, you're like, is that right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so this whole thing is ominous, but like also she's like hurting my feelings a little bit. So now I'm like, something's gonna happen. I
Right.
hope nothing happens, but I feel like it is. So yeah. Anyways, but chapter 3,
Chapter 3.
we rolling right along.
So Gadriel has like basically kidnapped a healer, or maybe multiple healers
I think he
to,
tried to do
yeah,
multiple or convince them.
to heal Amaris. Um, yeah.
That's not how we do it, Gad.
Well, that's how he did it. um, and so she wakes up because she's healed, and
She's like, what's going on?
yeah, and Gadriel's like, "Are you a fucking idiot? Like, what are you thinking?"
Okay. I had so much to say about this because it's like, okay, first off, you're sitting there saying that the curse is broken. Is it broken or is it your colors at play? That is something you need to consider. Is your colors working or is it actively like broken? Because you don't have any other person here saying
Right.
anything any otherwise. Amaris coming down and like anybody else coming down look the same. So like you don't know if the curse is actually fucking broken. Because it's
Right.
for her to be able to do that for that long, for 20 years she had to have been channeling it through somebody else. She must have been doing something. There has to be some type of fucking totem pole with an artifact on it that's like exhibiting all the evil negative whatever. I don't think the curse is broken. I think they actively have to go on a search for it and get it.
Yeah.
Also, this just popped into my mind. What if the queen is actually from Soulgrave? Or like something along those lines. And the zealots up there is what made her
So
crazy.
strong or something. Yeah. Could be.
Um okay, anyways, back to Gad. Gad's sitting there getting all high and mighty, like, what the fuck was your thinking? And it's like, okay, first of all, what choice did she have?
Yeah, and also, this is literally what we came here to fucking do. We came here to kill the queen.
Yaz was literally off destroying boats in case she couldn't access her shockwave to get the whatever off. So, like, she had to sit there and wait.
Right.
You were nowhere to be found. Malik was trying to get rid of all the innocents. So,
Yeah, this is
please
literally the
tell
point
me.
of our mission. The point of the mission was to come here and kill the queen. And
Yeah.
Amaris had to be the one to do it for whatever fucking reason.
And so please tell me probably because of the shockwave that Gadriel has to be there. But like, please tell me in what fucking world did she have a fucking choice? Was she just gonna wait and like walk away as the ghouls are like following her? No. Can she fly? Absolutely not. What the fuck do you mean?
Yeah. I can't.
And she just wanted the satisfaction of killing the fucking queen and not letting the ghouls do it. So,
Yeah.
god damn it.
Right? And then as they continue to talking, as they continue talking, she finds out that Nox can dreamwalk, And
Or
she's
Malik.
like, she can come to all of my dreams? What the hell?
Yeah, she's probably in all of your dreams that you dreamt of her.
Yeah, and he's like, not really, not necessarily, but
Yeah.
yeah. And then poor Malik, they
Didn't tell him anything.
well, they kind of decide that he is going to,
Babysit the Duke.
yeah, he's going to stay there and babysit the Duke of Hanares as basically her, what do they
Liaison.
call it? Yeah, there's like a word I feel like specifically for it.
Not general, but it's like
Yep.
fuck.
um
Siri, help me. Damn it. It's
mhm.
God damn it.
Anyway, I can't think of the word right now, and I'm gonna think of it later and shout it, and everyone's gonna be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" But it's fine.
It's gonna be in the next episode or two. That's good. That's the funny part.
Yeah, probably. So Gad catches them all up, and then they decide that they're going to
A regent?
maybe, yeah, that sounds right. Um, but Malik accidentally gives them this idea, like. He's like, it was a joke, and they're like, no, that's perfect. It has to be him. Steward, that's what they say. We'll give him
Oh.
a placeholder title like the Queen's Steward. Um,
And then
and
he's like, what? No.
yeah, and he's like, no, like he has no brain. He needs constant supervision. And they're all like, Amaris can't stay because none of them know what sort of spells or enchantments Soulgrave might be using to protect themselves. Gadriel can't stay because he's the general. Gadriel and Yaslin can't stay because they are Northern Rascot Fae, and the people of Obey don't necessarily trust them. So it basically has to be Malik.
Poor buddy.
And I was like, no, I want him to go back. I want him to go back to Nox.
But
I know.
But we might have found a way around that in the next chapter.
Yeah.
There's some few things that happen.
Amaris, at the very end of chapter 3, Amaris writes to Nox using the quill and says, will you visit Malik tonight? He needs to speak with you. And so that's where we start in chapter 4, with Nox going to sleep and walking into Malik's dream. And at first I was really confused because I was like, do they not tell him that she could dream walk? Because it seems like he doesn't know that this isn't just a dream at first. But then he does. Like on page 41.
I don't know if he understands the whole concept.
Yeah, on page 41, he starts to. She tries to tell him, like, you're asleep. I'm here in your dreams. I need you to talk with me seriously. And then he starts, like, the dream starts shaking because he's like, what the fuck? And then he says something about. Gadriel said you were a dreamwalker. I'm sorry, Nox. I didn't realize where we were. But the whole
What a little
funny thing
ham.
is they're in a pond, like naked. They're both naked in a pond.
But Nox willingly got
She did.
naked and in the pond in
Yes.
an attempt to get him to understand or to like to get him to be serious for a
Yeah.
moment. Because he obviously thought it wasn't real.
Yeah. And they start talking and he's like, I thought you wanted me to hurry home. How am I supposed to hold you at night if I'm half a continent away? And she's like, aren't you holding me now?
Which is true.
And yeah.
Does it help her? We don't know yet. But
And then she says, Malik, I know you don't want to stay in Obeid, but let me ask you something very serious and please don't lie. Have you ever had a sex dream about me? And he's like, excuse me?
of course. Who hasn't? You're beautiful.
Yeah, basically. And
This just really confused me because it was just one of those things like, where did it come from?
like, why did she ask that?
I mean, I know why she asked that. Like, it all like made sense, but it was just one of those like, listen, I know this has got to be a thing, but this has got to have blah, 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 all these things, whatever. And then she's like, wait a sec. Have you ever had a sex dream? Do you want to make it a legitimate sex dream?
Yeah.
Like,
She's like, why do you dream about having sex with me? And then finally he gets there and he's like, because dreams are the only place we can safely be intimate. And she's like, get
has
there.
he
Come
said
on.
that he's like been in love with her prior to this moment? Because he just blurted that out and she glossed over it. She's like, what a romantic. And it's like, what a romantic. Has he said this to you before? Like, he didn't. He said, I adore you. That's
Yeah.
different. He just
I'm
straight up
so
told you he's
devoted
in.
to you.
Yeah. He just straight up said, I am in love with you. And you're not even gonna, like, you're gonna gloss over that? Red flag, Knox. Red flag.
But basically, they figure out that they can have sex in the dream.
Yeah, I was wondering too. I was like, could they even have sex in the dream? And I was like, I guess so, because it's not technically like it's a
Like
dream
it's
person,
not her
basically.
body really, so like I mean it is, but it's not.
Mm-hmm. She can imagine it's not.
Yeah.
But then I was also like, would this help her power like at all? Like her need for feeding?
Yeah, I don't know.
Would this suffice? She should take off her ring.
Right.
Find
We'll
out.
find out.
But yeah, then they have sex.
Yeah, they do.
I was like, okay.
Yep.
I'm in love with you. Let's bone. that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean basically.
Yeah.
And then
And that's it. That's it.
yeah, then we're back to he wakes up from like his dream and they are going back to Castle Obeid to help clean up.
Which this was gross.
Yeah, it was really gross. They're picking up all the corpses and all that stuff and salted and burning the bones so they can't do it again.
Do it again. Yeah.
Um yeah.
It's funny because the Rascot Fae are like, ugh,
Yeah.
manual labor. It's like, have you been in an army? Because I feel like
Right,
that's
and Amaris
what
is like
like you might know how to be in the military and how to take orders and formations and all that like a military, but like when's the last time you had to do manual labor?
right.
I feel like that's all military branches. They just do mindless tasks.
Right. Like lots of
It's free labor
training
basically. Well, not free,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
partially free. Whatever. But they finish it up and they clear it out, so.
Yeah. And that's the end of chapter 4. And then chapter 5.
Chapter 5 was actually pretty good because we learn a lot of Not not all of the answers were, and obviously there's still a lot of questions, but we got some answers and we have some like more solid
Yeah. Oh, and something that happened in one of the previous chapters
thoughts.
that we did not mention is that right, it happened in a previous chapter, right? That they came up with the plan to use Tanith.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're going to use Tanith to spread the news
because
that,
that's what it was like. Oh, you're a genius. I'll ask her. P.S. Can you have?
yeah,
I need to talk to Malik or something like that.
yeah. And so they're going to have Tanith, or the plan is they're going to have Tanith use harpies to spread the news of Nox being the heir to the throne.
Yeah. So
And
harpies, I guess, are malevolent because they spread rumors, lies,
discord, like
yeah,
distrust.
deceit. But they believe that with the soul grave power of being able to like control,
Yeah.
yeah, as long as they are very, very like specific with what they want said, it should ultimately work.
Yeah. Um, and then at the beginning of chapter 5, Ash is pissed. He's like, absolutely not. We're not doing that. What the fuck?
And I
And I'm
completely
just like,
understand,
yeah,
but
it's the best plan they've got.
yeah, and they did ask, they didn't force Tanith to do
Right.
it. They had asked, look, you can say no, and we will absolutely understand that. Can you do this, though? Oh, of course. Okay, how many can you? Oh, all of them. Oh, okay, cool. And then Ash is like, excuse the fuck out of
Yeah.
me.
Ash is like, nope.
But okay, so they did get consent. There's no there's no force in any of this plan. They asked, she agreed. Compromise, bro.
Yeah.
Like, do we have to
I
do
mean,
all of them?
I get
Great,
it
she could do.
though, because if it was Brittany, I would also be like, no, no.
I mean, yeah, but I would be the one to be like, okay, this is going to benefit us. Can we like split it up into smaller tasks? You say all of them. Cool. Can you do like 20 at a time?
No.
Hey, I'm compromising. No.
It's not going down.
See, that's the Ravenclaw in you.
But Janet does it anyway.
She don't give a fuck.
Well, and Ash is like, you don't have to do this. And she's like, I know I don't have to, but it's the right thing to do. Um, and she's a fucking badass.
She calls all of the harpies that are
All
like,
of them.
yeah, and Ash goes to like break her concentration, and Zakai's like, don't fucking do that.
Right? Like
We will
there's
be destroyed.
all of the harpies in the world are here right now, so like but they all get there in like no time. Like
Seconds.
yeah.
No, just kidding, like an hour. But
Yeah. Half past the hour, they start to hear things and then they see them. So a little less than an hour, all of the harpies in the whole land are there.
and they're like a uh how are they made? they they have like the face of owls, basically. And they have the lips of like women. Um yeah, enormous horrible birds with grotesque human faces cocked and turned atop their owl-esque bodies. The rooftop was alive with beasts every inch of the castle moving and crawling and squirming with harpies.
Yeah.
They didn't chirp or hoot like any birds of the land, but appeared to be whispering in hurried, horrible tones. So,
They sound terrifying.
yeah.
But they're like,
So they
okay, now what? Because she basically gives them what she wants them to say and sends them off. And she's like, once I drop my control, they won't be under my charge. I need to maintain my hold till the message is dispersed. And Ash was like, that could take days. And she's like, I will have it done by noon tomorrow. And I'm just like, this bitch is a badass. Like,
and that's the kind of like timeline I like, oh, you're gonna have it done by noon tomorrow? Bet. I want to see this shit done by noon tomorrow. No later than that.
yeah.
Earlier, cool. No later, great.
Yep.
But we
And
do learn a little bit of something because Ash is like, hey, we need that vial of green whatever.
mm-hmm.
Go get it. So Zakai leaves to go and get the green matter, whatever. And Ash is like kind of analyzing the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So Tana didn't look tired at all. She hadn't appeared trouble or sick after taking out Obaid's forces in Castle Gwydir either. But it had taken hours for the extent of her magical drain to reveal itself. So then he's like thinking more and more on the situation. And Ash played the events of the battle and her following illness with a slow, horrifying realization. Ash goes, we stopped her. And Nox is confused and wanting to know more. And he goes, we stopped her in the gully. Who knows how long she planned to maintain her hold on the demons. She was deathly ill following the gully for weeks. Do you remember? And then he understood everything at once. Horrifying images of Tana's sweat-soaked shape flashed through him as she trembled against the power she wielded. With a gut-sick whisper, he said, oh no, or not oh no, but he said they're dead. And Nox is like, who? Who the fuck is dead? And so Ash believes that the Soulgrave Fae from Yelligan, and more than likely the Soulgrave Fae for the ghouls,
Mm-hmm.
are dead too. So essentially, and I think this is what Tanith was implying. Tanith was implying that her ultimate goal was to not come back alive because she was to use all of her power, all of the blood magic that she has possessed to take away her life force.
Yeah.
And I
Putting her
wonder if like
on
the blood
suicide
magic,
missions.
yeah, essentially. So I wonder too if this blood magic thing is like a bind. So for instance, like in Harry Potter, I think it was part no. Uh mm, Order of the Phoenix. When they made a promise between Snape and Draco's mom.
Narcissa.
Yeah. And it's like if this didn't happen or he didn't do
Or is
or
it the
whatever.
beginning of Half Blood Prince?
Oh, maybe.
It is.
Oh, I think I just read the Order of the Phoenix. Okay, regardless. Whatever movie it is, they all are blending. I understand what happens along the storyline, but like specific titles, I forget. Okay, in that one, it had to be done or somebody was going to die. And it was kind of like a promise, like a death promise or whatever. And I kind of wonder if the blood promises or the blood magic is something similar to that.
Maybe.
So like maybe she took or she is like taking life force, kind of like a succubus, like if you don't feed or if you don't do anything with it, like you are essentially dying. And I wonder if that is because she's changed her ways, she's changed her outlook on stuff relatively, not
I mean, quite a bit, honestly.
yeah. Enough to not try to kill them.
Yeah.
And but I wonder if that has anything to do with her blood magic oath kind of thing. If it will ultimately kill her. Or if she was implying that this whole mission, this whole magic or whatever is ultimately a suicide mission and it's going to kill her. Which might be why she was okay with doing it in the beginning, because she's like, yeah, whatever, I got this, it's fine.
Yeah, I was already
I still
supposed to
got time.
die. Yeah.
But oh my god. Jesus Christ, Will attached to the headphones and it scared the fuck out of me. My heart stopped. Okay. But so anyways, we know it's a suicide mission. We understand it. We see it. So they got 3 of the 5. They could probably focus on the country. I don't think they have to I don't think they have to worry about the other 2. It's gonna happen.
Maybe. I don't know.
Nah, just go to Solgrave. Just go north. You don't gotta worry about the other 2. We'll be fine.
Yeah, just let them kill everyone. It's fine. No
Yeah.
big deal. Um,
Listen, you gotta think about the masses here.
the rest of this chapter though is just so sweet. So Ash is like
I wasn't ready.
holding her together. He's like hugging her and holding her arms up because she's got her arms out in front of her, basically like in a triangle.
And it's been like 10 hours right now.
Where she's holding
And
him out.
he has diligently, every hour on the hour, given her a little bit of that, like, elixir.
Yep, the blood to keep her healthy, basically. And then he holds up her arms with his shoulders. Like, all of these things. And it's just so sweet. And then, finally...
Noon on the dot. She's done.
And he carries her back to his room. Her room. That she's been staying in his room since his dad tried to kill her again. Or kidnap her.
Their room.
Their room.
Where they didn't confess their love, but he definitely was like, how can I stop myself from wanting you? And then she's like,
Don't.
I got you. You can't. And they start having sex.
Yeah, they do. They're my new favorite couple in this book.
And honestly, reading this smut scene was a lot. I enjoyed reading this scene more than I've read a lot of other scenes recently.
Yeah.
In a lot of books, because it actually, okay, everything else is always like, time for a quickie, or, oh, I choke you out, I'm in the mood, let's go, let's do this. So many things make no sense, but like this one was like an actual, it's like one of those scenes that you would read in like a non-fantasy love story.
Yeah, it was like slow, it was sweet,
This was love.
Yeah, that's literally the last words of the chapter.
Yeah. And honestly, my heart will shatter if anything happens.
I will set myself on fire!
I won't do that, but I will be really upset.
Ugh. Same.
What a cliffhanger, though. As soon as
Right?
I finished reading that, I was like, oh, god damn it. I want to read more. What happens next? Does she say, I love you, and then, like, dies? Like, what happens? I can just skip all the chapters. I don't give a shit about that. I just want to make sure this shit happens fine. I'm that anxiety reader where, like, as I'm reading and it's getting good, and then I, like, skip 2 lines, and then I read something, and then I skip another 2 lines, and then I'm like, I missed a lot of context.
Yeah, I gotta go back and reread that.
So then I go back and I read the lines that I missed, and then and then I'm like, okay, now that I kind of know what happens in the end, I gotta go back and get all the details correct.
Oh my gosh.
And then I do, and then I'm fine, and we're good to go. So, yeah. That was quite the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So, we will return again next time.
Bye.
Until next time.
You didn't say it right.
Sorry. Until next time.
Bye.